From their motivation to their growing numbers in the United States, here are 8 facts about doomsday preppers. Today's video was requested by Rue. If you have any other topics you'd like to learn about, subscribe and let us know in the comments section below. Number 8. Survivalism. Survivalists actively prepare for emergency situations that involve abrupt changes to the social, natural, or political environment. These scenarios may include large-scale wars, economic collapse, calamities, and many others. Those that specifically prepare for world-ending events are commonly referred to as doomsday preppers. The inherent motivation is being able to overcome the difficulties brought about by such major disruptions. Becoming fully self-reliant is a major component of a prepper's motivation. Reaching that goal is done through medical and self-defense training, acquiring survival skills and knowledge, preparing a shelter, and stockpiling supplies. Number 7. Historical roots. From an evolutionary and historical standpoint, people have always been preparing for the worst. An argument can be made that it's the same drive that's led to the foundation of civilization. In humanity's early days, people would band together to survive the hardships of living off the land and as a form of tribal protection. Yet the rapid development of the modern world has apparently eliminated the need for survival skills. Therefore, in the ensuing chaos of global collapse, many would arguably be helpless when left to their own devices. It's the type of situation that preppers have historically aimed to avoid. For example, nuclear holocaust is still regarded as a potential doomsday scenario, but it was most feared during the Cold War. As tension elevated between the US and the Soviet Union, civil defense programs promoted private and public atomic bomb shelters, as well as training videos for school children. After the fall of the Soviet Union, other waves of doomsday prepping were triggered by fear of the Y2K computer bug and the 9/11 attacks. Before we move on, answer this question. In 2019, a family was found in a secluded Dutch farmhouse where they'd been living in isolation for years. What were they doing? A. Waiting for the end of the world. B. Running an online church. C. Operating the largest crystal meth lab ever discovered. D. Running a YouTube channel on survivalism. Let us know what you think in the comments section below and stay tuned to find out the right answer. Number 6. Doomsday scenarios. There are several types of doomsday preppers in accordance to the catastrophic scenario they believe to be most likely. It's worth mentioning that a prepper would rarely belong to a single category, and elements often intertwine. That being said, some are concerned that oil will run out, so they learn how to become self-sufficient through agriculture. Others believe that hyperinflation will make money worthless, so they tend to stockpile gold and silver bullion. Those prepping for a viral outbreak or a large-scale chemical attack will typically own suits and respirators that protect against biological, nuclear, and chemical agents. In fact, there are even doomsday preppers concerned about a zombie apocalypse, and they tend to favor practical shooting as a major skill. The preparation for natural disasters differs according to their estimated time frame. Floods, wildfires, tornadoes, hurricanes, or earthquakes are generally brief. Therefore, preppers may invest in custom-built shelters, as well as enough water, food, or medicine to get them through. Those concerned with weather cycles that cause crop failures might prepare to last for up to a decade. This includes storing several tons of food and owning a heavy-duty greenhouse with canned, non-hybrid seeds. Prepping becomes more difficult in case of a supervolcano, asteroid impact, nuclear winter, or drastic climate change. Such disasters can be multi-generational. They might block sunlight or make the environment uninhabitable in other ways. Preppers thus tend to explore alternative means of producing food, water, and even air in what is often an underground shelter. There are also survivalists who favor a reliance on the wilderness with a focus on basic needs that follows the rule of 3. According to this concept, a person can survive 3 weeks without food, 3 days without water, 3 hours without shelter, and 3 minutes without air.
Official They Will Kill You merchandise is now available at theywillkillyou.com. Some of it is to die for.
Number 5. weapons. One of the reasons that doomsday preppers sometimes get a social stigma is that a number of them tend to stockpile firearms. This, along with extensive survival training, has led to them being associated in popular culture with paramilitary activities. The Department of Homeland Security has a list of characteristics for domestic terrorists, which is used in law enforcement training. The list includes obsession with self-sufficiency, owning survivalist literature, and fear of economic collapse. Some argue that it's a mislabeling. Nevertheless, it's not uncommon for certain preppers to own dozens of firearms capable of taking out anything from rabbits to elephants. They're sometimes accused of using the purported collapse of society to legitimize a firearm obsession or as an excuse to hoard guns. That's not saying that there aren't preppers among them with an authentic concern for safety. It's also not far-fetched to assume that a doomsday scenario would bring out the worst in some people. Whether they'd be used for hunting or protection, firearms would most likely have a place in a post-apocalyptic world. Number 4. Common stockpile. While there are different types of doomsday preppers, there's some commonality when it comes to certain items they stockpile. These are in addition to the creation of a defensible retreat or haven, which can be anything from an underground bunker to a cabin in the woods. Water and water purification equipment, as well as non-perishable food, are among the first priorities. They're followed by medical supplies, adequate clothing, and lighting sources. Defensive or hunting weapons and ammunition, as well as agricultural gear or trapping devices, are also common items. A must for doomsday preppers is what's called a bug-out bag or BOB. It's a bag containing useful items and basic necessities that enables them to leave a location quickly. Most survivalists tend to employ a be-prepared mentality in their everyday lives. This is also the International Scout motto, and it refers to a state of readiness in mind and body. Despite the way they tend to be characterized by mainstream media, survivalists aren't all fringe individuals. There are multiple areas around the world prone to natural disasters, where preparation can mean the difference between life and death. Number 3. Codes and acronyms. The militaristic aspect that's sometimes linked to prepping is also reflected by their extensive use of acronyms and specific terminology. In addition to the BOB or bug-out bag, there are also the BOL and BOV, as in bug-out location and bug-out vehicle. WROL means without rule of law and refers to a lawless state of society, while EROL is excessive rule of law and describes an oppressive government. EOTW means end of the world, and yo-yo means you're on your own. While some are actually gearing up for a zombie apocalypse, the term zombie is used rather sarcastically by preppers. They are incidental survivors of a disaster who feed on the preparation of others. A goblin in doomsday context refers to a criminal miscreant. A person in denial about the disruption that may come with a large-scale disaster is called a Pollyanna or Polly. This is in reference to the titular character of a 1913 children's book who finds a reason to be optimistic about anything. So what was the Dutch family doing all those years living in isolation? The right answer was A, waiting for the end of the world. Near the Dutch village of Runewold, authorities found 6 adult siblings and their father at a secluded farm. They'd been locked up for at least a decade, waiting for the end of days. They spoke in a fantasy language and believed they were the last people on Earth. The media dubbed Doomsday Family was only discovered by the authorities when the eldest sibling fled the farm and told his story in a pub. Number 2. Skills of a doomsday prepper. Most preppers would argue that skills weigh nothing, which means that in addition to useful items, one must possess survival knowledge and skills. Preppers can rely on them to turn any situation to their advantage. Navigating by using a compass, reading a map, or looking at the stars can be very useful. One should have basic medical knowledge, such as how to give CPR or treat a wound. A prepper should know how to find and purify water or start a fire without matches. Knowing how and what to hunt, trap, or forage may prove essential in procuring food. These skills can be complemented by practicing agriculture as well. Even if they have a solid shelter already, shelter building on the go is an important skill. Bartering and mechanical knowledge, even if it's not particularly advanced, might also help. Another aspect that some preppers emphasize is maintaining a good level of health and fitness. mental training toward keeping one's composure is also important, as a prepper might end up alone for days on end. Number 1. Doomsday preppers in the US. Between natural disasters and the uneasy socio-political climate, both internally and externally, many Americans have begun preparing for the worst-case scenarios in recent years. A 2017 survey revealed that an estimated 68 million adults had purchased survival gear. Out of them, adult males tended to be more involved, but only by a slight margin of 1.8%. Survivalism as a whole tends to be regarded as a male-dominated medium, but in statistical terms, women seem to be just as concerned with doomsday prepping. From a generational standpoint, millennials were at the forefront at 42%, followed by Gen Xers at 31% and baby boomers at 17%. As of 2019, a growing number of people all over the globe fear a world-changing event is coming, which consequently has also led to a rise in doomsday prepping. Thanks for watching. Would you rather spend the rest of your life in an atomic bomb shelter or in an active war zone? Let us know in the comments section below.